Today, a Denver man sued the Archdiocese of Denver, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Catholic Parish, and a former Catholic priest over allegations he was sexually abused as decades ago.
Now, this new lawsuit comes 3 years after State Attorney General Phil Weiser and Denver Archbishop Sam Aquila began an independent review into the sex abuse of minors in the 3 Colorado dioceses.
Denver 7's chief investigative reporter Tony Kovaleski has been following these stories for years now.
And Tony, the victim, says he's now ready to take action about his alleged abuse.
Clearly, he stepped forward. Former Reverend Timothy Evans has been out of prison now for more than 2 years. And earlier today, as we've learned, one of his former altar boys stepped from the shadows to raise serious accusations, secrets he kept inside for nearly 2 decades.
I'm coming forward to share my story of physical and sexual abuse at the hands of a priest when I was a child.
In front of a room filled with cameras and journalists, Scott Verdi told his story.
The abuse lasted for over 3 years, and there was over 100 different times that this man physically and sexually assaulted me.
The 38-year-old now former altar boy accuses former Reverend Timothy Evans of sexual assaults.
This guy was a machine at manipulating kids and just utilizing his position of power to really do whatever he wanted with all of the victims that he took.
Scott suffered through this abuse for 3 years, and for 20 years he has held his silence in shame and in despair. These incidents, these memories have haunted him.
This is not the first time former Reverend Evans has been accused of the unthinkable. Back in 2007, a jury convicted the veteran priest of 3 counts of sexual assault on a child by a person in a position of trust. He received a 14-year prison sentence, and back in 2020, he was paroled after 13 years.
I'd like to tell them that I really hope that the Catholic Church is taking this more seriously. It doesn't seem like, even after everything's come out over the last 20 years or so, that really there's been a change in the environment in Catholic churches.
Responding to the news today, the Denver Archdiocese released this statement saying, in part, the Archdiocese of Denver cares about all survivors of sexual abuse and is fully committed to protecting the most vulnerable members of our community. And it said the Archdiocese has not been served by Verdi's lawsuit, and it does not comment on pending litigation.
I want to make it clear that this kind of abuse is never the fault of the victim and that is never acceptable. I hope that by sharing my story, I can encourage others who have been through similar experiences to come forward.
Now, our team located a phone number regularly associated with former Reverend Evans. We called that number and left a message. So far, no response.
Very brave of that victim to come forward.
Clearly.
It really is. Yeah. Thank you, Tony.